it's a whole lifetime of offering really in this, from the, you know, growing up in the countryside. My dear parents are here. You'll see them. David Sweeney is the name on the screen, and they're actually in the place that I grew up with. When I was 2 years old, I moved there and got to really get the sense of listening to nature on a daily basis, and noticing the changes that happen in nature. If we're in the city, it's a little harder to notice sometimes. But I got to, you know, there was this incredible flood that happened one time where like this rainwater, all the water melted really quickly, and there's this like massive channel of water, and my brother and I jumped in a canoe and went down this like ravine. And I mean, that's something that we had to be really tuned into nature to have those kind of adventures. And I really feel like this project of listening to the song of nature and the meditations that I've created have been a part of that adventure. I started to compose this work in a really incredible space in Calgary that has the Kabbalistic tree of life in crystal, about 3 feet of crystal, and beautiful prayers in the floor of this space. And there's plants, and there's a giant golden pathos plant that's on the window, and you'll see in the meditations this plant. And so I just set up with my Chinese harp and my Celtic harp, and I'd often have to just lie down on this crystal grid for a while and receive the energy, and then just ask the question, what wants to happen here? What wants to be created? Listening to the plant, and then experimenting, a lot of experimentation. And one thing I noticed from the artifacts of 6 is that there's a journey. Social innovation really supports the sense of a journey from where we are now to maybe where we want to go, and to tune into that. I think frequency and sound has an incredible ability to help us tune into what's possible, the beautiful world our hearts know is possible. So this, what the offerings, how everything came together is that there's 4 meditations. There's 2 meditations that are really about reconnecting to nature, and there's 2 meditations that are about co-creating with the song of nature in our group processes. And I also was moved, and I'm deeply grateful to have an interview with Woodland Cree Elder Leonard Cardinal, and speaking about the wisdom of plants. So this is like a whole process that if you go to the website, you'll see these 2 videos about what plant music is. You'll see his interview, and then the meditations are there as well, and an invitation on how to receive them, how to use them in your life. But I've been meditating for many years now, and I know that the quality of visualized meditation is one of the most powerful ways for us to shift out of chaos in the mind and into focus, into peace. And one of the meditations to reconnect I'll share was, it's a practice, a ritual of mine, that when I go into nature to listen, I go for a walk, and the sound of the snow, the footsteps of the snow into this ravine where the river is flowing, and then recording the plant music in a space, but bringing it into that experience is really this subtle attunement to the song of nature. So that's one of the journeys, as well as there's another piece that was, I feel it took about a month of me working with the golden pathos plant to embrace this kind of an experience with the plant, and it's called playing with nature. And really, if you listen to the meditation, the plant is playing, and then I'm playing, and there really is just the sense of, you know, when kids go into the playground and they go into nature and they just run around and they roll in things, and it's kind of chaotic, but it's beautiful. And from that place of play and experimentation, I mean, it's research. Design thinking is all about, the need for design thinking in the world is all about experimentation. We need to experiment. We need to loosen up and play and let go of the mind. So that's one of the other meditations. And then the ones about co-creation have come from about a year of working online with people and noticing the need to help orient people to the online environment, so that we're not just sitting or standing in front of the computer. We're engaged in a sense of shared reality, you know, shared connection beyond the screen. And so it invites us through this process of connecting with each other in a circle, honoring the land, a land acknowledgement, and then invites people to get up away from their computer and explore the space around them and notice that we have these incredible environments that can resource us, but they also can inspire us if we know where to look. If we know, oh, I have a whole bunch of wool over there, maybe I'll get my needle felting materials out, and when I'm on this call, I'm going to needle felt something, and allow that creative energy to not just sit in front of the computer, but move through me in a really organic, natural way. So that's the opening centering meditation. And then the final meditation is called the creative inquiry meditation. And this one is all about using our time as a group to inquire into things in our own space. So we turn off the camera and go into our own space with a question and return with possibly intuitive insights into these complex problems that our minds often can't figure out. It's our heart and our body that can, when we tap into that wisdom, we can, it's an amazing process and experience. I know there's many people on this call who are very embodied and relish in that sense of embodiment. So those are the meditations, but more than that, it feels like a journey through, there's this pathway I go just near my house, and I walk through the forest, and there's this glen, and then there's the forest, and there's an opening. And it feels like this project is an introduction and orientation to the forest, a welcome from an incredible land-based teacher and native elder, Leonard, and then an invitation on how to listen, how to journey into nature, and how to receive it as a resource for yourself. But then to move forward and say, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to be in service for humanity at this huge time on the planet. What can I create? How can I bring people together in an artistic way? How can I activate the spaces I'm in already, the groups that I'm involved in already, to tune into the body as a source of problem solving and expanding our awareness to new ideas, new possibilities, new hope. This is where we need to, this is the journey to the new space, the new glen on the other side of the forest, is you can look and go, wow, there's so much that's possible when we tune into this profound interconnectedness that is present. We are nature, but it's present around us all the time. And it's really about relearning. We know how to do this. It's in our DNA, it's in our being. So with that, maybe I'll invite you to just to tune into that embodied space and listen to the plant on its own, just noticing the sound of it. And then I'll play a little bit. And I'd invite you to use this music in whatever way feels right for you. If you want to stand up and like shake or allow the music to really move you into the direction that your heart wants to go. Maybe it's Mira, maybe you go to your piano. I don't know. Maybe you shake around and you're putting these awesome glasses on. Maybe there's some play involved. Maybe you look at the plant that you have near you. So just allow the music to guide you and support your natural movement. So I'll invite everyone, I'll do a little meditation, invite you all to take a deep breath in. Harnessing the resource of breath to, look at Gord's plants. Yay, there's a jungle. We're intimately connected to nature. Nature's creating oxygen for us, and we're creating carbon dioxide for it. There's humility in just listening and saying, I don't know, and being open to receive what comes to us. just listening to the plant without having to do anything, interact with it, play with it even, just listening. If you're on a little journey, maybe slowly coming back, and we'd love to hear from whoever feels moved what you heard, maybe in the music, but also, and I have to hear from Leo. I just have to say, Leo, I'd love to hear from you how things are. So feel free to unmute yourself and share what did you hear, and maybe a memory came up, maybe the music brought you somewhere. Maybe you could hear the difference in the plant from before I started playing to after. Leo, you don't have to share. I'm sorry. Oh.
Well, I really felt such a grounding and peacefulness. I was definitely brought back to a retreat site that I've spent some pretty magical time in. And I happen to be writing a novel that has that element of retreat in it. So I was drawn to pick up my pen and really feel grounded in the descriptions of the natural environment from the retreat. So thank you for that.
It's beautiful, Mira. I've been to one of those retreat settings with you, so.
You know, the element of silence, but yet people are everywhere when we're all wandering in the silent space outside. That's what came up for me. Connectivity in the silence and the peacefulness.
Beautiful.
I'll share.
Yay, Ali Gelber.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of some of the times that we started working on our project around plant music, and then we'd have the machine playing in the background, and all of a sudden we just start feeling so relaxed, and it's just like a kind of entering a little bit of a different state of consciousness. And I'm kind of in the middle of my workday, so I've been listening, but also looking at some emails popping up and a few other things, and then as the music gets louder and comes on, I'm like, wow, I'm just feeling so much more relaxed and just starting to enter a little bit of a different state, kind of away from the busyness of the workday. So it's a really nice pause, nice way to kind of step away from the just the kind of the hubbub of what feels like a Monday morning, right? So
I want to acknowledge Ella. It's through Ella and our dear friend Samantha Orthlieb that we know about the music of the Plants Machine. So our collaboration has been really vital to this whole process. Thank you, Ella.
You're welcome.
I'll share next. What's coming up for me is adventurous creativity through nature, and this giving ourselves permission for this like wild, raw expression. Like in social structure, we're social beings, so we all want to fit in. I'm working really hard at that, but I'm not doing well at fitting in. So I guess I should stop working at it and embrace that wild, raw nature. And that isn't to say moving away from kindness and cooperation, because when we observe nature, there's a lot of cooperation. Even when it looks vicious, there's still like this understanding of we're all working together in this way. And I'm not going to take it personally when this tiger tries to eat my face. So I suppose it's like embracing wilderness for what it is, and perhaps that's embracing our humanity for what it is too, when we can sync up with nature. I'm also like very inspired. I did a lot of writing.
Yay!
Color vision. Oh, yay plant music. Thank you for sharing, everybody. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be with you in nature but online.
I think it's thanks to Gord's little drum chord that makes us feel a little bit more like we're in nature. I'd love an introduction to your plants, Gord, if you felt comfortable to share.
Yes, hello. I don't know much about these plants. These are my parents. I'm staying at my parents' place currently. But it's just, I can see the image on the screen, and I, feel them next to me, and it definitely shifted my energy once they came close. And I just really appreciated resting into the space of the sound of the plant and the harp. And I noticed the very significant kind of, dropping of energy from, I guess, thought space and really into the body, quite a quick shift as I was tuning in and hearing the sounds. And it took me to this kind of visualization of this place I was in Sri Lanka a couple of years ago. And I spent some time in a very large monastery. It's about 1,000 acres, I think, of hills and forest and different parts of a monastery in this landscape. And I would go to this kind of gully and just stand there with the lush forest, and there was a lot of like sounds of birds and cicadas and crickets and all kinds of things. So I was transported there with the sound, but it was silence, kind of there, but without all the sound. It was this very magical sort of being there in spirit, let's say, with the plants and with all the creatures, but in silence, and it's a very beautiful experience. Thank you for this today. It's really wonderful.
So good to have you with us, Gord.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
You're reminding me, Gord, of Gord and I also share a Buddhist community in BC, and just the space around the monastery there, and the walking and being with the plants and wildflowers, and the stillness of nature there is just extraordinary. And I think that stillness is what this music allows space for. It has to. I mean, I could play and just have the plant music in the background, which is something I sometimes do if I'm not tuned into myself. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to play with nature. I'm putting it on. I'm going to play the song. And I want to share, I actually did that in this live, my friend Alla and we had Heather Marchand created an event on the eclipse where we invited, there's about 20 people that meditated online or at a distance. They just tuned in for about an hour and a half while I was recording some of this music. And I started playing a song that ended up being a composition for the symphony that you'll hear on Friday that's being released. And I just started playing this song, and it's so specific and it's so like detailed. And the plant was so tuned to me. And then it just literally just stopped and played a little bit, but it was kind of just like, oh, that's interesting. I'll just let you do that. Because I disconnected from it. I disconnected from listening. I was playing my song, hoping that the plant would play along. And then when I got that message, I was like, oh, right. Okay, this is a different piece. The song or the meditation playing with nature came, that experience of just really like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? So I wanted to share that little story.
I'll tag team on that actually. The first time I heard the playing with nature meditation, which is having the luxury of being on the 16 before all of you, most of you on the call, I already had a moment of playing with nature, walking in the park, listening to it. And then I walked into a little kind of pathway between the trees, and there was an old man feeding the pigeons with a plastic bag full of breadcrumbs. And the pigeons just looked very beautiful, actually, which is surprising for pigeons. But, you know, they had this beautiful like pattern as they were like dipping their heads to get the bread, and the feathers were catching the light really beautifully. And there was just so many of them. It just looked really interesting as a pattern. So I walked forwards, and then he had just finished his breadcrumbs, the old man. And then these two kids kind of came out of the I guess the next path along, almost out of nowhere, and started like chasing the pigeons. And I was under a big tree with bare branches, and the pigeons would just float past the kids as the kids chased them into the tree. And then the pigeons would be like, but we want the bread. So they'd come back to the bread, and the kids would just chase them again. And it was this beautiful circle of the pigeons like landing on the tree branches and then coming back to the floor. And the kids were just, they were just loving it. The sound of kids' laughter and the pigeons above my head, and none of them pooed on me. And I just thought, that's magic. It was a risk I was willing to take, honestly. But there was something so beautiful about playing with nature. And then that I was listening to Eily's meditation as that was happening, and so I recorded it because I felt like that's the kind of thing that I would then be attuned to as I'm doing my walk in the middle of my working day, right?
That's such an incredible story, Josiane.
Thank you. One thing that I might invite is people who are not on camera. Just want you to know that we see you, metaphorically. So if you also want to share what came up for you listening to Eily's plants or harp, or where it is that you feel connected to nature, please just unmute yourselves and say hi, and we'll hold space for that. I know there are a few people who might like to say a couple of things.
Hi everyone, this is Kelsey.
Hey, Kelsey.
Hi Eily. Hi everybody. I'm so delighted and feel so blessed to be here. I have to share something that literally just happened while Josiane was sharing her story. I heard a heartbeat. This like heartbeat started coming through the audio, and I don't know or need to know where it was coming from, but for me it was so beautiful, and I think it speaks to that connection of hearing the harp play with the plant, and the music actually being this linked heartbeat of people and plant. And I'm just a bit in awe, really. I don't know where the sound came from. But it was incredibly powerful. So I just wanted to name there is this pulse in the room. And
That's so beautiful,
gratitude
Kelsey.
for that. Mm-hmm.
What I just want to say what I sense you're tapping into, and this is so Leonard Cardinal's talk. Leonard, he's a pretty incredible facilitator that brings people into something called the Night Lodge, and also into Sweat Lodge. I did my second Vision Quest with him in the fall, or sorry, not in the fall, in last spring. And this magical component of connecting with nature is that nature is a knowing field. It is alive and aware, and there's pretty incredible phenomenological things that we can't understand with our minds that can happen when we tune into this field. And so what I sense happen for you is that we're tuning into something. Rupert Sheldrake calls it the morphinogenic field, where wisdom and time and space don't really exist. So this is what Indigenous people have known for forever. And it's what we in a Western society have forgotten. We've forgotten that our connection with nature is directly connected to our sense of spiritual connection to, and our connection to other, like what else is out there other than just the human day-to-day journey of survival and work and what's directly in front of us, the physical that's directly in front of us.
I was just going to say, gotta get my picture here.
Oh, thanks. This is my mom.
I just had a phone call from a harp teacher that Eily and I both have, and we haven't heard from him for 3-4 years. He just phoned right now and said hello, and I'd like to connect with you. And I said, Eily's on right now, and she's going to do the symphony on Friday. You'll have to be part of it, or I'd like you to be part of it. I'll call you back when it's over. And Roger Helfrich, our harp teacher, called right now.
That's amazing. Right. So my mom started to play the harp first, and then I started to play, and it was because of Roger that my mom got lessons, and then I also took lessons with Roger over 10 years ago. That's amazing.
Thank you for your music and for this channel to beyond the physical.
Is there anyone else that feels moved to share?
I might just add that the working with artist composers was so experimental for Six, because in our field of social change and social entrepreneurship, big institutional decisions that affect kind of societies in their places around the world, right? Like the esoteric is not a part of that conversation that much. And increasingly, especially with the chaos and uncertainty, the paradigm shifts, the unraveling, the throwing back the curtains of various systems that we are intricately connected to. So many people, ordinary people in fact, have seen things differently and realized they needed new language and new ways to understand how the world works. And so we were kind of tuned into that and realized that this language is increasingly part of the public, not just consciousness, not just how we see the world, but also what we want, what a lot more people are asking for, meaning making, magic, especially when everyone is feeling quite disillusioned. And so this is a beautiful fusion of my two worlds, certainly the esoteric and the professional, and it's kind of a dream to have them both on the same call, and I totally believe that's kind of how it works, really. So honoring you, Eily, and the artist composers for bringing that into fruition.
That's amazing, Josiane. And I also want to add, and this is something that Fia, who's not here right now, but she's one of the filmmakers in our team. And I love saying our team. Yes, we're a team. We're going to do more work together. And we're really passionate about saying, hey, artists are here and we're translators. We can translate what's happening in accessible felt experiences that people can get within seconds. And I know the video I put out several months ago, it's about with beautiful Mira. She's the producer and also sang in it. In 3 minutes, people were weeping and laughing and had hope in their heart. I mean, what else can do that but art to bring us hope, connection, emotional feeling? It's feeling. We need to feel from the place of heart. And artists need to have more of a place in the world to be those translators, really. And if anyone wants to look more into that, read Daniel Pink's book called A Whole New Mind. He speaks very intimately about how the future of our world depends on having artists in the room, depends on having people who can see, feel, and think differently and translate that into magic. So here I've had a request from Leo and So, and I'm going to plug the plant music into a different plant to see how it changes. this all depends really on the plant. Sometimes if I have it in a plant for a while, it starts to go slower. And again, if you listen to the podcast that I did with Fia, it's an incredible representation of how the plant started to play more melodically than I've ever heard, right as I started to perform specifically for her and the audience. So let's see how it sounds. So I have the little thing in the root. I have the clip into the, or in here we have the little node that goes into the root system. And then I have the little bit of water on the leaf and a clip on the leaf. Let's see, it's looking up right now.
There it goes.
It's waving hello. Oh, it stopped. Hello, Leo.
You know, it reminds me of the experience we had of kids coming up to the plants in some of the different pop-ups that Eily and I have done in the community, and it just becomes more melodic. The plant song becomes more melodic as children come up and they're curious and innocent and just want to come to with an open heart and experience the plant music. And then the opposite happens if people come and they're in a bad mood and they're just like, what is this? And don't have an open heart. Sometimes the plant just stops singing completely. So I think we're hearing that right now.
I'll tag team that and say that in Leonard's talk, he says people come into, you know, into his ceremonies and they have often very profound experiences, but then they think about it and they try to think out of the power of that experience. But yeah, please listen to Leonard's talk. It's a huge gift that he let us record. He let me record his teachings, and it really was a process of talking with him and asking what was appropriate and sharing the plant music with him. He invited me to say bad things to the plant. He's like, all right, now criticize the plant. And then now compliment it. And I was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, sure. And he noticed a difference. And I just want to jump into the next step, which is really the work with Six has made me realize that there's this whole other project with plant music and working with Leonard Cardinal in nature and in ceremony with plant music and noticing the changes in this knowing field with plant being able to pick that up as a translator with Indigenous teachings. So this is work that Al and I are going to be collaborating on, and we're looking for funding to really support his voice, the voice of nature, but also the voice of this incredible land-based teacher to be more available in the world. So that's the next step that we're looking to happen in the spring. So I'm really, really excited about that. Leo, did you notice anything different with the plant? I'm curious if either of you did notice.
We did. It was a bit faster than Leo, than the other plant. Leo's been enjoying the plant music so much. Thank you so much. And he's been asking me loads of questions. As you can see, I've been talking all the way. So it's been
awesome.
So nice to be part of this conversation.
I'm really hoping like the videos I created for this project, there's two really short videos, will help anyone who doesn't get this, like as an orientation to what the device is so you can hear it. And maybe I'm hoping that more kids will take this work in. And there's also on each of the meditations, there's an in practice section. So you know, the one on feeling nature's pulse has some information on how to create your own sit spot practice. That's it's an article from Wilderness Awareness School, and there's just like an in practice section to say what's next after you listen to this and how can you bring it into your life more. Yeah, I think we're right at 11. Oh, Olivia.
I just wanted to say I really appreciate, like, if you could pick up the plant again so that we can all admire the plant, because that's when the real melody came out. It was when you were holding the plant and holding it up so we could love it.
Thank you, plants.
Thank you. It's just so amazing when we are actually really attentive, how differently the plant sings.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Olivia.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a few things that were mentioned on the call were so beautiful, and definitely something we'd like to we'd love to experiment and explore later down the line as well. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Eily, we are to time, and I wanted to honor people's time.
Yes.
So if people have to leave, they are welcome to. It was so wonderful to have you with us. I will leave the room open for another 20 minutes in case people want to stay and jam and listen to some music and or kind of ask Eily some questions. Feel free to do this with your cameras on and off, on or off. And otherwise, hopefully see you at the Symphony on Friday.
Yeah, Symphony on Friday. Cool. Do you want to bring us back to take the spotlight off, Josiane? There we go. There.